Excuse me. Thank you. All right, guys. So we're here for the last session of the day. But first of all, please, how was the lunch?
Nice, yeah.
Okay, it was nice. That's good to know. Please share your feedback. We are really interested in your feedback. What about the tea break?
It was too light.
The tea break was nice too?
It was too light.
It was not so nice, but the lunch was better.
Oh yes,
Okay, I'll be sure to communicate that to the person. They should increase the portion, Abi. For the tea break or for the lunch? For both. All right. So what would you like to have for tea break tomorrow? Not what we serve today. Small chops. Someone said more Nigerian. I think the only Nigerian breakfast I know is yam and egg. Pancakes and eggs. Or pap. Pap and akara or something. Okay, we'll see. All right, guys. So our last session for today is on art law. I personally love art a lot because I grew up around art. So when I was growing up, my dad always had paintings and sculptures and all that all around the house. So I think from a very young age, I was able to develop passion for it. Everywhere I go to that I see an art piece, the first thing I do is I want to see the name of the person. I want to follow the person on Instagram. I want to see all the other kind of art that they have. And I've also started to collect. Not like big expensive ones though. Because, but yeah, I've started to collect. And some people just don't understand why art is expensive. You know, you see a small piece of art and they'll tell you 1 million and they'll be like, 1 million for this thing. You know, they don't really understand it. But I think for me, if you put me in a room full of art, I'll just sleep and be at peace. And I'll really enjoy myself. So our next speaker today, incidentally, is an artist and a lawyer. That is one reason why I feel he's in the best position to really speak to this issue, because he knows about the business of art and art sales and being an artist and the experience he's had as an artist, and also he has the legal experience to back that up, and, or should I say, to combine and actually teach us something. I can see this picture, one of the most expensive Nigerian artworks ever sold. And incidentally, I know we're all lawyers here, our next speaker is our Assistant Publicity Secretary of the NBA. Guys, without further ado, allow me welcome Charles Ajiboye. A round of applause, please. He's not just like our Publicity Secretary today. He's just as an artist today.
Thank you very much. Okay. I just want you to read this. Njideka Akunyili. Those of you that love art, you probably know of Dora Akunyili's daughter. Her works have sold millions at auctions. Her 2017 Bush Babies is known as the most costly recorded Nigerian art piece sold. A blended media piece sold for 3.4 million. This is old stats. 3.4 million US dollars is no longer 1.2 billion. How much is that now?
About 3 billion.
So it's over 3 billion naira. 3 point something billion. Okay. She also sold another one that's ranked quite high, $1 million. That's probably like how much now? About 1 billion. Okay, next slide. 900 million. That's the junior brother of 1 billion. And then this fading work. The man is late now. God rest his soul. Son owns an art gallery. Sold this for $1.6 million. I'm trying to discountenance the naira on this side of it because That's not correct.
Almost 1.6.
One is not so. And then this one, next slide. Stowing's work sold for about $600,000. Next slide. I just started with a few of those pictures to whet your appetite, so that you understand that when we are talking money, we're talking serious business. And then when you talk about art, you're talking money. So that's my way of saying good afternoon to you. You're welcome to our morning session. I didn't say morning, I said morning. Mr. Denigo, it's good to see you. I know you didn't recognize me when I first came here, when I was wearing this old thing. My tie, Abi. It's good to see you. When you see people like this still come to class, it's amazing. It was the one who helped us at the National Secretariat of the Nigerian Bar to plan the media around the State of the Nation dialogue that we did, where we hosted all presidential aspirants just about a month to the conference. He is the president's right-hand man. That's YC Mikel's childhood friend of maybe over 40, 50 years. Good to see you in class, sir. And it's a pleasure to be the one that is on this side. So are you excited? It's going to be very interactive. And for those of you that know me and my traditional bow tie, self-knot bow tie, suspenders, three-piece suit, double-breasted, I'm sure you come and say, this guy now wears sneakers, jeans. Well, and I'm glad about the demography of people in the room, because you must know how to play in the time that we are in now. And it's an exciting time. I've had a lot of privilege to speak and to sit in the room with deep wisdom and experience. And one of the things that I know that I've worked for those people that have reigned in the past, they reigned when we were young, they're still reigning now. You still go to your places, and the names you were hearing when you were an undergraduate, they are still the VIP when you go for events today. Why do they look like they are in and they are never out of season? What I think happened to many of them is that they saw opportunities when they were about to start, when they were about to blow. They leached on it. They became very creative. Then they became lucky. And there's a man I spoke to, was someone in the tech space. What's this man again? Remita. You should know Remita now. System specs. Anyway, you don't know this guy that was, what is this man now? And we're talking, and there was a long time when they had built the applications that they began to use for the single national treasury account. And that application was just there, and then it wasn't like a big deal until an opportunity came. Just the same way all those payment systems were not big deals until the opportunity came with the no naira stuff, and then people cashed out in billions. A few of them are already cashing down again because they got very foolish, went to buy houses in Banana Island, started dating celebrities, and then their reign ended. But this is something that is still emerging. And because art law is not everywhere, and a lot of people don't even understand what it is about, you find out that we will keep on passing away from opportunities. And then those of us that are here can set the tone, can create the path, and then can sit on top of it and cash in on it. I came here with a friend who I've cornered him as my PA. He's an artist by training. He's an artist by profession. He lives and breathes with painting. His name is Damilola Edubi. Please put your hands together for him. He's a fantastic guy. He just returned from Germany on some kind of an art tour where he also went to improve on his skills. And then we had an exhibition together some time ago. And then he normally calls me informal artist. He says he's the formal one, I'm the informal one, because I read law and not theater art or artistry or painting or fine art or sculpture or whatever. But he read it. And that's the thing that was paining him about his industry. That he cannot wear wig and gown and come to court and say because he read it in books. But me, I can go for I can organize an art exhibition, I can paint and I can sell even though I did not study art. And I said, well, it's your problem. I don't have any solution for you. But then that's the beauty of it. I've always been a lover of art from childhood. I did not have my father putting paintings everywhere. Art found me. It was just inside of me. And then it is one of my biggest takeouts from COVID. Because shortly before COVID started, I had just met 2 young men who were formal artists. And I told them I wanted to learn how to paint. And then, of course, when you have reached this kind of stage, you turn to VIP student. So I could now turn them to home lesson teachers. So I converted a room in my house into a studio. They gave me a budget. We furnished the studio. And then they started taking turns to come and teach me. And then when the lockdown happened, oh my God, one room became guest room again. So when this one comes, it stays over, takes me, we do all night, all day, all night, all day. There was no work, there was no movement anyway. And then I did a lot of crash learning. And then a lot of pieces came out. I'll be showing you my pieces just in case somebody would choose to buy. So all the pictures you will see here are my works. And then when you finish, you can share the catalog so that you can buy. It's good for you to sow in the life of your teachers. As you are buying books from those that write books, buy artwork from those that teach art law so that you have me in your house. And the spirit of the money in the heart will be coming into you every day. Say amen. Amen. All right. So what's the idea behind all this? Next slide. If you are going to play in this space, now this is my work as well, I call it dreams. If you are going to play in this space, you are going to, and by the way, I remember when I first sent these slides to Dumade, he said, is it only pictures that are in your slide? These people are lawyers, they want to read law. I said, this one is not the law that they come and read like this. This is art law. And it's completely different. They're just lawyers, but this is a completely different space. And then even though it marries, and I will tell you how it marries, but you must come to a stage whereby you drop your heart, of that conventional law. So why do some of us still actively go to courts? Why am I still doing election petition cases? Why am I still jumping from state to state and all of those things? Because I still want to be silk. And I think it's just going to be very sexy if I'm a silk, and then I'm also doing this and doing other things like, it's going to really be good. And there are not many people in that space. So it's a niche I'm running to come and to quickly go and Kolobi. So that you understand it's not every essay that must do election petition, or you find out that there are some silk. A time will come, they will be rare that will understand this space. But the law says we must still go in a particular way. So we'll conquer that space, we'll conquer this space, they will find a union for it, and then we'll take ownership of that space. And so you must have to, you will need to think outside of the box a whole lot of times, because you will not find too many materials and too many templates for you to use. You would have to create. It's a lot developed outside Nigeria, so you will find things to rely on. But because the legislations here are not elaborate, the processes here are not so fine-tuned and as organized as they ought to be, you will have to pioneer. And that is the big advantage that we have. Do you understand? It's not a problem. It's a big opportunity, and that's where I started from, where I did. Next slide. Now, drop it. Where does art and law meet? Where do they meet? They meet on many platforms, in many ways. Drop it. They meet in many ways. And the first part of it is what many of you will easily know. That basically, simply speaking, art law is about intellectual property. I'm sure if you ask anybody, it's just intellectual property, And then, sometimes when you commonize things, or you make them look very simple, or you make them look very basic, you miss the big deal in those things. Because it's a big deal. And everything can easily be given a generic name. everything. You can just say, something is criminal law. But criminal law is broad. Oh, it's corporate. I remember in law, everybody say, yeah, corporate. When you just come out, I want to be a corporate commercial lawyer. What does that even mean? It's so, as in one space, one small space under corporate, you will realize that you can stay there and never be hungry. And then I was speaking to, I don't know how many of you know Mr. Folusha Phillips of Phillips Consulting. We were speaking the day before yesterday, and then there was a training that he had done. I did a live training with him. It's on my YouTube channel if you go check it. It was during COVID. I was doing a whole lot of one-on-one sessions with some very intelligent people, and they were talking about something he said there. When I asked him, how did Phillips Consulting get to penetrate into the Nigerian economy when you had all the big fours and all the big boys and all of those things? He said all they needed to do was to find a small space in the big picture that a lot of people were not looking at, put a lot of searchlight in it, and then rock it well enough until every time that space is mentioned, they are remembered. And then they can do what? They can spread. Because once I call you to do this, the tendency for me to ask you if you can also do this becomes higher. Do you understand? And so intellectual property is extremely broad, that you cannot just say art law is about intellectual property. But again, if you're going to be a very good lawyer that is practicing in this space, you are going to have to be very, very sound with your intellectual property. And of course, there's quite some legislations in that space. Now, most of the time, the first place a lawyer will be required is in registration of copyright. But don't forget that even copyright itself for art, it's automatic. So it is my work, and then it is my work. I have copyright over it. But then, of course, it is good, it is advisable, it is easier to defend, it's easy to claim if I go ahead and register. Now, how many artists even bothers that? Do you have any of your work that has copyright? And I'm sure it probably has like 200 works. And they are sold in different countries. And then the fact that people are not doing it does not mean that people will not do it. You know, if you are very observant, particularly if you stay on the mainland, you'll see that there are cameras everywhere now. And then I was speaking to somebody, and he says he's always trying to beat the cameras whenever he doesn't have car papers. It's not policeman he's looking for anymore. It's not LASMA. It's camera. So he's driving, he's looking up. Once he sees the camera, he drives close to the car in front of him so that the camera will not capture. But then the way the cameras are positioned is such that it is front and back now. So when you are rushing close to the car in front of you, the one at the back, it's not facing the car coming. Go and observe that about 2 in front of this NECA building, one before, one after. There is one that is designed to catch you when you are coming. There is one that decides to catch you when you have passed. So either ways, you just get an email, Pakam, you don't have insurance. Pakam, you don't have. How many people have been giving those kind of fines? You receive this, and the day you go and renew your roadworthiness certificate, they impound your car and they ask you to pay. Very smooth way. Now, do you know those projects are private initiatives? And then somebody goes to meet government and says, you are wasting money putting policemen, they are collecting 200 naira, 300 naira, 400 naira. You don't need it. All this money will come, you will sit down, they will bring the car, and they will pay, and they will go. And they are raking in money. I was in the office yesterday, and I was talking to someone that works with one of the companies that is pioneering some of this kind of innovation. And then their next target is how to even increase that revenue and increase enforcement, so that as much as possible, you will pay that money. Because what people now do is, if they catch you in Lagos, you go and register in Ogun State. So all those tricks, they also know, and they are locking it down. What am I going to? Is the fact that lawyers now need to be more creative. Some of the biggest briefs I've had in my life were not litigation-related briefs. In fact, they were more of tech-related and startups. And then many of them did not come because they told me what they needed, because even the client did not know what he needed. And that's what's going to happen in this space, and that's So I've not come to teach you the law according to the books. I've come to teach you art law and business, the money in it, where the money is in it. So you as a lawyer, you've gone to 5 years, you've gone to law school, a good number of you have done 1, 2, 3, 10, 15, 20 years of practice. You know the law. You can find these other ones. What I want to open your eyes to is how to convert that law to money by the instrumentality of art. Are we together?
Yes.
So you find out that even the artist is not bothered because he doesn't even know what he misses, why he needs it, how it can be a problem to him. And you know, this Nigerian Gallery Arts Act that they've been pushing, back and forth, there are some provisions in it that by the time it comes fully in force, we'll be requiring a number and a measure of artwork in every public building that speaks to the nature of that building, amongst other things. Now, it is only those that are positioned for such kind of opportunities that when that kind of demand enters the market, they will be able to sit on top as experts and they can milk out and milk off such situations. Are we together? And so, a strict liability, many of us know that. The fact that you did not know it was my work. And I remember when I was sending to my, I said, when you want to send the slides to the people in the training, please don't send the original slide, convert it to PDF, because these pictures, you can see how it's pixelating here. They are actually designed, they're already in their digital format. If you understand what I'm saying, they have been converted to digital format, and so I can actually have limited reprints. I can print it on t-shirts. I can do a lot with this format that I'm using, and so it must downgrade it, make it into PDF, and maybe even watermark it so that somebody doesn't get excited and then goes to go and play with my work of years. Do you understand? So it's strict liability. And then how many cases do we have? I have been looking, you have more foreign cases, and I try not to come and bore you with foreign cases because I'm actually one of all those people that, you know, some of us that have not jackpot, we have not jackpot because we are here. Do you understand? And then we know that there's a lot we can do from here. We can be citizens of the world, we can move around, we can do a whole lot of things. So we'd rather just go and keep going and coming and keep going and coming and making all those monies, those currencies, but then we are fine. So it's strict liability. Somebody uses somebody's work, and that happens a lot here now. But even artists are not suing. A lot of them are just trying to eat. I've seen people that bought pieces from younger artists, and then, okay, in this old piece, for example, now, this is just the place that has my name, for example. I know Damilola was the one who taught me that behind this canvas, he will write his name across behind it. Do you understand? So typically, initially, I didn't used to write behind the canvas. You just write somewhere here. Then somebody buys this piece of work and then just... Do you understand? And then puts another name there and goes to sell it. Now, that is big money for some lawyers who understand what that person has done. But the artist may just even just shout and this is it, and they go, yeah, sorry, send your account number, they'll send 200K and you'll keep quiet. But lawyers need to rise. And then when you register your copyright or copyright generally, nobody can use this work, even if you buy it, for anything more than only this piece, all through my lifetime and for 70 years after I've passed. And so it preserves that business. That's what I call it. It preserves that business for so long. And that is why once you reach into that space, it is, how do I put it? You can keep chopping and chopping and chopping and chopping. It's not like some kind of something that goes. And then I know that there's a lot of advocacy now for commissions on resale. So I sell to you, I make the money, but what about when you sell to somebody? Do I, as an artist, have a fraction in that? Some parts of the world have started giving 5%, but there are conversations around that as well, so that the original artist keeps benefiting from that work, even though it still holds its copyright. Now, what other thing should lawyers do in this space? Registrations. You find out that, and that's the Society for Arts and the Museum. That's why I just put that abbreviation there. You find out that a lot of these artists are taught how to paint, or they just learn how to paint growing up, but they don't even have knowledge about what kind documents they need to protect their works, to move their work here and there. And I know that recently, when Dami was going to move some works out, there was a need for him to take them to National Museum, and there's a process for you to do all those certification. Those are things that if he had a retainership with a lawyer, he would just say, these are the works that are going. That is the compliance work we do normally now for companies. That is compliance. That you prepare all the documents that is required for that work to move, because the works were leaving Nigeria to go be exhibited outside the shores of Nigeria. So there are processes to follow at the museum. Well, if he was the one that was carrying it himself, in which case that was not it, because he was sending it. If he was carrying them himself, it would have sufficed if he was registered with any of the art organizations here. He can show proof of that. They will understand that he's a true artist, and so he can carry that work. But a lot of artists don't even understand those details, particularly the younger ones. And then if you find out, if you look very closely, you realize that there's a whole lot of genius that is being displayed by young artists. But then they require a lot of guidance. The same thing that's happening in the music world, where they're just churning out music, doing beats, they just want to blow. It's the same thing that is happening in this art space too. They finish, they can draw very well, they can paint, they can mold, and they're just excited about it. But they don't know that one day, like e.t.c, one of those works could be 3-point-something billion. And then they've done it anyhow. And then they're now thinking, no, that's my work. They see their work somewhere, but there's nothing that connects them to them. In fact, I've seen a lot of artists who even do works and don't even sign. I've seen artists like that. They just want to sell it, just take, no document, no certificate, no originality. They just paint and give you. And then tomorrow, you give me an artwork like that, and then you find that artwork being sold. And it has happened to one of my clients before. He did that, he was broke, and he sold those works, I think it was 50,000 naira, and he sold like 4 of his works. Now, the guy took them, kept them for a while, as a collector, reframed them, and then resold them. The day he saw the first work, and the person said that he bought it for 1.5 million. He now went back to the guy and said, but you sold the work I sold to you. You knew that I was just broke. You did not even say, I said, as per what now? As per what should I have recourse to you that? Did I not give you your money? But a time will come, and the time is here already for lawyers that know their onions, where such matters may need to go to court so that we can start having precedents too. And say, what will the court say? I sold, it was not signed, but at no point did I give copyright. And don't forget that copyrights are learned naturally. It's his own. But again, we need to also ask in court, did he violate copyright? Because he did not reprint, he did not reproduce. It's the same work he sold. Did he not buy the work, no matter the price? These are the things that lawyers will have to worry about. And that's where the money is for you. Do you understand what I'm saying? So you can now ask, if you were the one representing that collector, because lawyers will not be on the two divide.
Yes.
I will argue that that collector Ujelo, that artwork Utilo. Interpret. You don't know that song? Because songs teach us a lot of language now. Even if you don't know the language. Oh yeah, support it law. It don't go. It's not the way they sang it. That's the interpretation now. The person sang it and he said, oh yeah, support it law. It don't go. It's gone. It's gone. Do you have a contrary opinion? No, but as a lawyer, somebody briefs you and says, this is what this guy did to me. Are you going to say, just go and walk away? What kind of defense do you think you can bring up?
So there's this principle that an artist gets a percentage of every sale of their art.
Yeah. I mentioned that earlier. But whether that is law here is a different thing. It may be somewhere, it may be in California, but it may not be here. So if you bought here and it's sold here, can you? And even that law only says you will get a fraction of a further, so maybe 5%. So I bought it 50K, no, divided by 4, 17.5, and I sold it. Why are you laughing now? It's not 50K. 17.5, and I sold it 1.5. Then the law says I should give him 5%. I'll give him 75K. Abi? It's still not bad. But again, you now need lawyers to guide. And I remember there was a startup that was going to start business in Nigeria, quite big. They grew very big. And then when the founder came, invited me over, shared the idea. And then we do a lot of digital legal advisory. So we just looked at the whole idea and all of those. This idea is beautiful. We looked at the pitch deck. We saw the projections. We saw the numbers. We believed in the business. And we did what you call legal opinion. And then we gave them and said, these are the legal issues that will kill your business. It's law now. And we told them this and 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 that. They didn't see all those aspects. They were seeing business numbers and all of those things. And they predicted all of those things. And many of those things are difficult to build because you also don't have patterns. It's not like saying when you have a rate of a card rating, even the remuneration order that was passed into law, I was a member of the committee. But some of those things were still difficult for me to even find a way of bringing into the remuneration order for legal practitioners because a lot of those things are still unfolding. They're still unfolding. And so we said this and this and this and this are the problems you're going to have. And then he said, no, the money was too much, this, then they left. And as God will have it, shortly after that time, we were able to get $5 million in funding, investor funding for the company. But he still felt that they wanted to use the money to do advertising, marketing, promotion, blah, 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 blah. Then all those predictions started happening one by one, as if it was the one that sent them. Boom, boom, boom. And then investors were like, and then they came. Of course, he paid us good money. Because by the time he came back, we reviewed the invoice and we came into it. Now, eventually that company went on to get another 5 million, another 5 million, and another 5 million. And they had about 20 million, they grew very big. That is also an opportunity that is opening up here now. You know, one of the things that came to my mind after Mohbad's death was that, and I discussed with a few colleagues, you'll still hear about it. I'm only telling you, it's a small class, and so I'm just sharing this idea. Should I share? Anyway, let's share. My spirit says I should share. You still not use it. So, I should be sure. Oh yeah, now I'm going to use it. I share my anyway. Was that we should open a small space because in law we do a lot of pro bono, don't we? But we always do pro bono for people in prison and indigent. It's not true. It's not all of us that we do that kind of pro bono. Well, I still do that, like I told you, because I want to be silk. But beyond that kind of pro bono, have you thought about opening some kind of slots in your firm where up and coming artists, either in law, in art, as an art, or in music, or in so, can sign up to you when they really have nobody? Now, caveat, many times when they blow, they will shank you. I've experienced it. But not all. And many times, you also don't need all to be happy. If you have 10 people and 8 act like their head is not correct, that too will compensate for all the 10. It will still be worth your while. And you find out that many of them, and already we have a lot of those kind of people in music, in art, in comedy that we represent now, and then they are not paying anything. Many of them, all they will just do is they will prostrate, they will greet you, they will do this, they will do that. You know, they will always be around you because that's where they are now. And I've seen some of them grow real big. At least in my own short lifetime, I've still seen some, within the period of time we have done it, move from literally zero to become big. I remember, for example, when I first met Arole, the comedian. The very first time I met him, he was still in OAU, final year. And I remember him walking to my office, and I asked him, he still said it on one live Instagram that we did together some time ago. And I asked him, I said, are you sure you can crack joke? This same Arole said, yeah, crack joke, make me laugh. You can imagine something like that. And this was probably like 4, 5, 6 years ago. That dude, how many million followers does he have on Instagram now? Maybe some 2 million or 3 million. And he can move things. The Mohbad's rally in London was centered around the guy. And there are quite a good number of them like that. Eventually it will pay you. And the beautiful thing, like I said about this demography, is you have enough time to enjoy it. Now, gallery, collector, agent. That's another space we are not talking about because I'm just talking about artists. Most of the time, the artists themselves may not be as exposed, but the gallery owners, the collectors, the agents, those ones are businessmen. How many of you know law firms, when they are looking for briefs, they write to banks? Literally every law firm does that. In fact, it has reached a stage, I have a lot of company secretary and legal, whatever. as friends now, they will tell you as it's coming in, they stamp it in, there is a folder, they put it there. They are not treating it again. The ones that are registered, law firms that are registered in any of those banks, maybe 500 law firms, they don't have to see what give them. You are doing fine proposal, writing beautiful letter. What do you say? Introduction of our law firm, thank you, received, acknowledged, filed. But how many people write letters to museum owners who probably don't even have any legal representation? They use their lawyers, their friends. It's when they want to ship a product abroad or they have an issue with an artist, they will now call a friend. I've received such calls before because I have friends who own galleries. Charles, I beg, now so they charge. They don't even understand that process. You'll be surprised. But they understand the business and the space of the art. And like I was saying earlier, was it this morning? Okay, it was over the night when we were talking. That we're talking about galleries and then how they get to sell on some platforms online. And then we're like e.t.c, you know e.t.c? So they get to mop up artworks from artists. They upload there. They sell. When they sell, the galleries take commission. They pay the artist. And then we're talking about how those artists are cheated. So what happens is, you come. What's your name, sir? Kenneth. Mr. Kenneth comes to me and he says he's an artist. I say, how much is your work? He says 50,000. You like 50,000? He says 50,000. I said, no problem. I will sell for 50,000, but you know I'm the one that is marketing it. So it's 60-40. Your money now becomes 30,000. Then I take it to e.t.c and I list it for. My voice can still try now. Okay. So I take it to e.t.c. It's just that those online, have you?
No, they can hear you.
Okay. So I take it to e.t.c and I list it for $100,000. It's not his business. So I first engage him and I sign a contract with him, 60, 40, 50,000. Then e.t.c takes 10% of $100,000. That is $90,000. So I make my $90,000. I give him his 60,000. Transactions again is broad. We will not finish this, but I just want to whet your appetite pretty much so that you understand that all of us that are worried about and don't pay long lawyers where appearance fees 5,000, 10,000, petrol is expensive. I say all those kind of talk. You should leave. You should just open your mind. Understand that way to enter markets is plenty. Now you know open eye, just they look one way. So if you democratize your mind, you realize that. And I'm not speaking esoterically or like someone that is not in Nigeria. You can please be very free to relate with my very, very ordinary nature. As in, no silver spoon, no golden spoon. We just came like Portable. You don't like Portable in your concert, but like Portable will say, I don't know English. They just use madness to enter market, and then somehow you just come out well. So my point is, stop all these two. What matters is don't break the law. But there are always ways to go around it, you know, very nicely and neatly, and nobody gets hurt. Now, commission work. Again, you have a lot of work to do here when it comes to transactions. Somebody wants you to do a painting for him, and then it's also allowed. There's also that business. So, Kenneth can ask me to do a painting for him, and I don't have time, and I ask Damilola to help me do the painting. Then again, I charge Kenneth 100,000 because it's Charles now who they paid for you. Say again, so I won't give me 30K. It's $100K dollars, you understand? And you pay because it's Charles. Then I ask Dami to do that work for me. Dami doesn't know Kenneth, so I take the work and I give it to you. Now, who really owns that work? You say copyright is him, Abi? How? Again, you know it's strict liability. So it doesn't matter that he doesn't know. So if tomorrow he wakes up and then he comes to meet this person, some legal issues will need to be sorted out there. I hope you understand that. But beyond all of that, I could also tell Dami, from the time I'm commissioning him to do the work, that both the hand and the leg is my own. In that way, both the copyright and the right of copy is not his own. Do you understand? Now, these are converters that midwife exhibitions here and there, as regards how it works. What are the terms that needs to be in this kind of contract when you're commissioning work? Do you understand what I'm saying? These are the things you will have to now think about, because it's not just going to be go to ChatGPT and just say blah, 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 just drop it. ChatGPT will not know those details, and even if you try to make it explicit, the beauty of it is that it has given you a template to beat into shape. But you first must understand what is going on for you to be able to beat it into shape. The same thing with outright sale. If it's selling, what is it selling? The work with or without the rights. Same thing with transfer. It's not selling it. It's moving it from one place to the other. Sometimes you go to some places, some big hotels, Transcorp, Radisson, you see works of art displayed there, and they will put price on it, or they will say for inquiries. So they are basically just being displayed, they are being exhibited there. Somebody's just using the traffic to sell. It neither belongs to them, nor do they have any rights around it. But there must be a conversation, and that conversation is better documented, and there's no other person that should do that. Auction. It's a completely different space. The only way you can sell that kind of price, because if you go to Arts and see our works, they're just about plus or minus £2,000, dollars. That's the range, 2,000, 3,000, the same in the deca. But when that work moves to auction, it becomes completely different. And you know, when I started getting interested in all these spaces was when I had to go and join the Institute of Auctioneers, and I had the privilege of rising to become a fellow there, so that you can understand also how to play around auction. How do you move value into a particular piece? Because someone will ask, how does this piece move from 1,000 naira to $1,000 to $1 million? As in, are they removing subsidy on it? It's the same, but what is changing in it? It's a whole different understanding you have to understand. The growth of the artist, where he has been, the kind of exhibitions he has done, the kind of people that have his collection. You know, a lot of things play. So you see me here now, oh, you've met Charles Ajiboye today. Then you walk into Heathrow Airport, and arriving into Heathrow Airport, you see a big store. I see Charles Ajiboye. Whether you like it or not, you take a selfie with that something, and you send it to me. You're beginning to give more value to that thing. Do you understand? It's becoming more than just an art piece. It's becoming a phenomenon. It's becoming something to hold on to. The value is increasing. And so you find out that if you as and I'll talk about being a promoter later on, but let me just talk about it now. You as a lawyer, the same way we have promoter in CAC, in Kama, you have to understand that as a lawyer in this kind of our time, you have to be some sort of a promoter for creatives. It's not necessarily against your work, but you must begin to think about creative ways to give visibility to your client, because the more his works and his person is becoming visible, the more your own negotiation, of course, that is if you know how to have negotiated your bills. If it's contingency basis, if it's on retainership basis, but you need the client to succeed. The bigger your clients are in law, the bigger you are. And that's why when you hear somebody, that guy is lawyer to so and so, you imagine that he's a rich man. Automatically. Nadangote lawyer be that one. You don't expect him to be at the bus stop. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, the bigger your clients are, typically, the bigger you are as a lawyer, the more money you have. So, it should be in your own informed interest for your client to have visibility. And how? Is to ensure that all the things he's doing, you are tying all the loose ends. And the guy is saying, really? Wow. So we can make more. I didn't even know we could cash out on this. I didn't know we could. You know, I was talking about this, what's the man, this league guy that he said Guinness Book of Record put his name and said he's won the highest number of cases and all of those stuff. And then he even sued Guinness Book of Record again. He sued them again for putting the record there again, and he collected money from them.
Did he like have them take it down?
Do your research about that. But that has already been published. That has gone. He will just have a retraction and he got damages for all of that. But my point is, when you have a lawyer that is looking at the client and is saying, how can this client get bigger, better? And the client doesn't even know. That kind of client appreciates the lawyer more. And I remember the client telling me one time, say, you know, just be ordinary lawyer, you understand this business well. That's why we can't let you go. And then they just tape it. And this was a testimony. I didn't say it was word for word I said it. So you must go beyond, I can go to court, I went to law school, I have LLM. You must go beyond all of those things and then begin to provide raw service. Then copyright transfer, which I've talked about in passing earlier, whereby at some point you want copyright to be transferred, and then you can also advise clients at that stage. You know, so for example, a client is broke and then he's trying to sell works to somebody that you as a lawyer believe that the person can afford more. You know, we lawyers know how to profile clients better. And then you look at the person and you say, this guy can pay more than this, but he only wants to pay 500,000 for the work. Okay, let's write him now. What if we want to give him copyright and tell him what he... So the artist or the client is saying, to him, what does even copyright mean in the first place? He may never use that right. And that is the truth. If you have about 200 works, the chances that you use all your rights, very slim. But the one you want to use may be the one you will not have. Because not all your works will blow. Not every song that a musician sings gets to become viral. Do you understand? But you can now negotiate as, okay, you need this money now. Okay, let's tell him that. Plus the fact that we can now do a transfer of his rights completely to him. Let him do 1 million. And say, okay, why no problem? And then you advise him on the pros and cons and he moves. But then the details has to also be there. Next slide. Now, the third thing you find out that where lawyers play a lot in this space is in the real business. And then gone are those days where you as a lawyer should sit in your chambers and expect that clients should send you instructions. It doesn't work again like that. The only kind of instructions that come as a matter of course is garnishee proceedings. When they file garnishee in bank, they send it to you to go and defend. Or police matter, then they'll call you to come to police station. Or DSS, where they will beat you. Or EFC. Do you understand what I'm saying? I didn't say that as your national officer. But those are the ones that comes as a matter of course. The ones that people are chopping real money. The advisory. Now then go by themselves, write the client, by themselves, invite the client for tea. And say, we did a research, Mr. Managing Director, and then we realized that looking at the projection of the economy with the new federal government in place, the new policy, the policy of the government is likely to take this to this, PMS will come to this. Your company may be at risk. You may have some kind of unrest in the this, in the that. I think we should set up a mediation thing to begin to do it. I think now then go identify the problem. Now then go profile the solution. Once the client sucks into it, let's do it now, then the invoice will come. Do you understand? And then you must begin to use that mindset for everything. And of course, like I said, it will play on to your negotiation and to your pricing. Your client has the talent. Your client knows how to do the work. But most of the time, like I said, the client self don't know who he be. The client himself doesn't know what he's supposed to do, how he's supposed to charge. You are supposed to, you know, there was a time that people were complaining that consultants, the big fours and all of those things were taking jobs of lawyers and all of those things. Because some of these things are creatively, you can easily cross the line and move like this and move like this. But the one that gives lawyers a lot of leverage that we don't use is that we are easily able to cross. So a lawyer can enter property and he'll say, no, he's only doing real estate agreements. Do you understand? And surveyors cannot say he should not do it. Town planners, the estate cannot say he should not do it. Do you understand what I'm saying? So he can stay there. Now, for him to write the agreement, he will say sometimes he wants to see the place, he wants to do his due diligence, know that the work is... And then before you know it, you don't turn property lawyer again. Then he calls it property law. So, it's easy to meander But you have to know how you're doing it. I talked about being a promoter. And then due diligence, when you want to buy work for your client, you are representing the collector now, or the gallery. You don't want to also buy problem work. You don't want to buy that work that you do not confirm this arrangement. That he commissioned me, I commissioned him, he commissioned somebody, and then you're not sure exactly who has the rights. You're not sure whether the rights have been taken. You're not sure, or the client wants that particular artwork for something that you know will infringe on rights. The client doesn't even know. He likes the artwork, and then they are doing a show in their business, and they say, you know what, I like this piece of work. I remember a particular company, in fact, I've seen it in 2, 3, 4 places now, where they were having their anniversary and all of those things, and they did, what do you call this, coffee table books and all of those things, snapped their collections into those books, and then reproduced them in other ways. You need to ask yourself whether or not rights are being infringed. Of course, there is a fair use defense or doctrine that you can say, oh no, it's just for our coffee book, we did not sell it, it's not commercialized, it's not all of those things. But then these things are the due diligence that you need to put in place for your. Let's move because I want us to have a lot of interactions towards the end. And then the one that we all know, which is still there too, is litigation. Like I said, it's not been well tested. And then we have to have lawyers that are more generous with testing the law in this space. Because a time will come, most of the names we call now and the big names we had before, we got to know their names because they did some landmark cases. You know, you say, the authority on this is Galify and so. Because at that time, people had not tested the law in those areas, and then they took the bull by the horn. So you need to get to that stage whereby somebody messes up with your client and you say, don't worry, we'll go to court. And then you now go and do your research. And most of the time, you have problems even in the court, because you will find a situation whereby sometimes you may have judges that will not understand this. Because I remember there was a case, it was an American case, where somebody did a work of art, it was sculpture, but it was at a time where they had banned the importation of raw materials. Now, the material that he used for that sculpture itself could have been described as raw material. But that work, that thing was not raw material. It was a complete work of art. And so the description and the categorization had become different. So it could not come under that law that had banned the raw material. It could now only be charged and taxed as a work of art. Then the question of what actually is a work of art now came to play in court. Because you find out that anything now is a work of art. I can just carry my Bible like this. In fact, I know somebody did an exhibition one time and he used a blank canvas. You've seen it? Yes. Who was the person again? Can't remember the name. Do you remember the name of this guy? It was blank canvas. And they went and said, what is it that you do here? And then he said, what do you see? And then he could really do a blank canvas, and then he would just sign. And imagine you come into my office space now, and I do something as big as this, and I frame it, thick royal frame, classic, big frame, and I just sign beside it like this. And then you're like, maybe there's something. So you are imagining that there's something. That illusion, that play he's doing on your mind, that is the work he's selling. And he could call it $1 million. It is his idea. It is his work of art. And you will buy it. And if you don't buy it, somebody that is more crazy than you that will buy it. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the definition of what art is has changed. And then that's why it's also easy for people like me to also become an artist, whether they call us formal, informal, it's their business. We'll come inside there, we'll make the money. So my point is, every one of us can play. Move on. Let's move to the next slide. In that space. But let us just, okay, release of sized work. Go back. Go back. Okay, injunctions. Injunction. So I also know that there's this case that also happened. This was also in the US, where someone's work had been damaged and there was being put up for auction. And because the person felt that that work, the position of that work, the state of that work at the time of it being auctioned did not represent him to have been said that this is the work of Charles Ajiboye. Do you understand? He went to stop and say, no, you cannot auction that product because, of course, I still have copyright in it. You can't auction that work because it affects my brand. It's my name at stake. So it cannot go like that. Do you understand? But again, this part of the world, it's when people like you and me start challenging things like this in court that these things will get back to the National Assembly. And then we'll now start building the laws that are around it. And the people that are involved in all of those things are the people that will first cash out. And then you have release of seized work, like the one I told you about someone bringing raw material, blah, 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 custom seizes someone's work, and they say, no, it violates this and it violates that. You will need to be called upon. And then how do you defend it? What are the things you would... Let's go on. Okay, I always like to look at this work. It's not showing very well here. I miss it so much. It's my work. It was stolen. I'm still looking for the thief. I'm still looking for the thief. Please look at it. If anywhere you see this work, it's my work, and I'm looking for the thief. It was stolen at our last annual general conference in Lagos, in the Atlantic. In between all that blah, 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 I had an exhibition at the exhibition stand at that conference in the Atlantic. And it's a big work. I don't know how they were able to move it. It was 4 by 4, 4 feet by 4 feet. But it moved. And I remember that at that conference, it was going for 1 million naira. And then they moved it. So I'm looking for the thief. Please, if you find that thief, let me know. I know the strange part of it, and that's how. And that there's a reward 10% when eventually I sell it.
I think bounty hunting.
Bounty hunting. Is that one outlaw again?
Yeah.
That one is blackmail law. But you know the funny thing about how the devil works? Day before yesterday, I was enjoying myself at a cocktail, and then there was a man who was with another senior advocate, popular senior advocate, say, "Oh, there's this your work that was at the conference. That one that had like a turban, there was a horse in front. You called it, and he was describing this work. Is it still available? It's a collector. He wanted to buy the work. Day before yesterday, and then I remembered again, and I was like, "Ah, devil, let me catch up with this thief." You know, next slide. So, abuse of your work, I've talked about theft. When people try to cheat you, your artist gets involved with a gallery, and the gallery is playing games, and then he needs somebody to fight for him, and all of that. That's your work. So, I'm just telling you where your work is. All the areas where your work is. The problem I have is that I know that many of us, when we leave here again, will still not use it. So it's okay. Those of us that are there, we don't need a lot of people there too. Gradually, will bring you in. And I know that many of you, even if I finish this presentation and I don't talk about NFT, you will still ask. Because you've also heard that NFT, they make money, this, they sold one work at this, they sold but doesn't make sense.
You're buying nothing. You're buying nothing.
Do you agree? What's your name?
My name is
Jisun.
Disun.
It says NFT is nothing. You're buying nothing. How true? Anybody that has crypto, you have knowledge of it. You have currencies in that space. It says it's not. There's nothing there. You're buying nothing.
It's all about the value.
I said there's nothing. You say value.
Yes. To him, it might not be valuable. To me, it might be valuable.
Why is it valuable to you?
Okay.
Let's cascade it into NFT.
Yes, for NFT. Now.
Your name is. I know your name. Tell them.
Let's
Let them your name.
Okay, my name is
Shegun. Yeah, continue.
So the thing about value is, just like every work, NFT is a digital, supposed to be considered a digital work. The only difference is it is more or less an authentication that there is a particular work. So when you buy the authentication, it's supposed to be considered one work. So it means the minute I have that NFT, it means I have the rights to that work. So that the value is in the rights. So if I sell the rights to you, you get to own it. Now the work might be, there was one, the monkey. The monkey was sold for a very, very big amount. But what's in the value is the fact that the person who bought it wanted to have the rights to that monkey. So if he paid me 10 billion,
you are not convinced.
Or, no, if he paid me 10 billion or 1 million, either ways, it is what the person who is buying valued it being able to pay for.
Okay.
So that same work can sell for 1,000 naira.
Wait, bring the mic. Thank you very much. Let's put our hands for shape. This one? This one? Okay. Let me hear what he has to say. Oh yeah, take mic now.
Okay, so I'm even happy that you used that monkey as an example.
It was annoying you.
No, it has buttressed the points that I want to make.
Okay.
First of all, the way this NFT thing started, the way it started is that there's a digital, let me say, work. There's a digital work. There are many copies of it. Many people own it. What the person with the NFT is paying for is the right to say, I have the first copy. Before it was distributed, I have the first copy. Every other person has the same thing. Every other person has
that's if it's shared.
But my own was the first one. How does that change anything? What do I have above someone else? Like, okay, so you got the first one. Okay, digital, it's not physical. Okay, so what did you get? Now that monkey is referring to, anyway, you can Google it. If you look at the picture, it's not even a good picture. It's and a crazy amount of money was paid.
All right, thank you very much, Jason. Okay, let me hear from you and then I'll continue. We'll still get to a more interactive part of the class, but I know that this NFT is always doing thinking for a lot of people. But
while some of us are still grasping to understand the conventional arts, even in class, even while we were talking, won't be tied whoever that doesn't talk about this. Because I just checked, I said, I hope this man, because what's happening right now is that there is this picture of Obi appearing as the Messiah. If you remember that picture, and somebody took the picture, somebody else took it, put it digital, and it became billions of, and it became a whole lot. I have read and read and read. I don't know why somebody will buy something for like $10 million. The next time it doesn't even worth $1 million, it doesn't even worth 1 naira. I've read a whole lot of, please, can you put sanity? I can come back.
What's your name, sir?
Ayo Ajiboye.
Okay. You know, this, you know my take about NFTs. When it first came up to, when the whole craze, I had your kind of view too. And you know why I had that view? My love for art is in, so if I come into a place, I lose my manners. Meaning, if I see something on your wall, so far it's not a gallery, I want to touch, I want to feel it, I want to appreciate that work, and I take my time. I can be so irritated that, you know, when I go to hotels that use pictures or limited copy, you know, all this framed art, as in the thing, as a way of, I'm uncomfortable, like, how will you put picture? You know, you want to see the oil, the acrylic, you want to think that somebody, not just see picture. I don't know, different people are different ways. So, if I now have this thing now, I say NFT, then I now have it there, and I say I have artwork. For me, it did not cut it. Do you understand? It did not cut it. But you see, what I've come to realize in this our generation, and then we don't have, probably we don't even have any, or maybe we don't have a lot of Gen Zs here, is that the way the world is going, even you cannot understand it again, and you will not be able to understand it. The more you try to understand it, the more you are unable to understand it. And so some of the things that you will do, some of the things that you will play around with, you will just play. I know a lot of people that cashed out from NFTs in the peak of it. And it was clean money. It's just these days because of all the fraudsters. There's a lot of fraud going on around it now. Somebody chats you up. It says send the link. It steals your work. There's a lot of fraud going on in this space now. So it's crashing it down. But whether you like it or not, it will still bounce back at some point. People are still going to buy it for the craze in it or for the sense in it. You may not be able to buy it, but that's why we have billions of people in this world. And your business really is not whether everybody likes the idea or they don't like the idea, whether everybody has value for it or they don't have value for it. Your own is to make your money and to move on to the next. So while it may take me a while, maybe by the time people wake up, maybe by the time I want to buy NFTs, by that time they would have moved to something else. Maybe I will miss out on that opportunity. So I may not be one of the people that will buy, but I'm happy to be one of the people that will sell. Do you understand? So you just need to choose how you relate. And of course, for you to actually play in this space, you have to be somebody that understands how the blockchain works. And then all of that we cannot do in these few minutes that is left. You have to take your time to understand how blockchain works, how smart contract, because even when you want to you want to mint your NFT, you will definitely still have to have some kind of tokens that you can, some kind of currency with which you will link up to the NFT, so that if someone wants to buy, even for you to even mint, you would have to pay maybe with Ethereum or something, and then you will now have to receive your money as well. And then there's a smart contract too that of course you will need to pass through in the process of minting your token. And then all of that, and that's why I just put all these things there. These are keywords for you to deepen your understanding on it. Good enough is not hot now. So you can easily, you can see how they are being sold. If you go to, can you see this well from your side?
Yes.
OpenSea. So you can see how people price them, how it works. If you go to MetaMask as well, it will give you some more idea about how you can play in that space. I just put e.t.c and e.t.c there too. I'm more interested in this kind of market. Well, maybe also because of, maybe I'm not a Gen Z, but I'm more open to, okay, people buy that artwork, then I ship the artwork to them. Do you understand what I'm saying? Then I hold the copyright and I can now do whatever I want to do with it. Of course, the beauty of what NFT gives to me now is that I can sell this work, which is the big deal for me. I have a lot of works I've sold. Do you understand? But again, I can sell the work because I still have my rights. I can mint it. I can convert it to the digital version of the work, and then I can still be making money off it via NFT. So that makes a lot of sense for those that are also selling. So that is also another way to advise clients that, oh, I have this work, I've sold this work. There's some work that when you sell as an artist, anytime there's one work that is still here. This one was e.t.c. Is one of my most treasured pieces. I was actually at that scene, and then it was good. And you'll be surprised how works gather value. This one, how works gather value, because I remember that during the period of that e.t.c, one of those celebrities posted this thing on what is now X, which was Twitter. And then people were calling, and then they wanted this piece. Maybe I should have sold that time. I was still doing, no, let it increase. But now they're not asking me for it for now. But as at that time, it was. If you go online and you search well enough, you probably find it somewhere where people were having conversations around and the work. And it was organic. It was something that just happened. It wasn't me. And then I started receiving strange calls. I was coming, can I have your number? There's this work I saw, this, and that's just how it works. So I've not had any work that really had that kind of traffic as this particular work did. Let me see, what else do we have so that we can now, if there are questions, if there are comments, let's see what else. Okay, I think I've talked about this as well. advocate needed. We need people that, it's a space that still needs a lot of lawyers. So, like I said in the beginning, the spaces that require lawyers will not ask for lawyers. The lawyers will go there, they will see those spaces, and they will occupy them. And so, the biggest of my challenge to you, let me move to the next. The biggest of my challenge to you is that, as much as possible, it's a beautiful space, and I've showed you some of those many areas that are still begging for occupation. So you choose how you want to come in. But trust me, there is no way you come in into this space, because you will likely not find a quick competitor. That's the beauty of it. You will not easily be replaced. You will not easily be compared. So it's easy for a client to come and say, you want to do tenancy matter. Shuaibu did it for me for only letter. 200. I know they're doing all of those things. But in this space, you really won't get a lot of all of that. So you can work with the ones that are still up and coming. And they have that they do not know. I think I've come to an end. This is another work. This was one of the things that motivated me to even go and study how to paint. It was this particular piece I wanted to paint, and I conceptualized it. I had the story around it. The story is extremely deep, and then I was looking for someone to paint it, and I wanted it to be really big. And then they were wiring me figures. Now I just vexed. I said, let me see if I want to paint. Eventually, I did it myself. Thank you very much. So, do we have questions? Do we have comments? Where's the other microphone?
Thank you so much. Please, guys, another round of applause for Charles. And our online community, do you have questions? Are there questions in the room? There's a question here.
Okay, he raised his hand first.
Okay, good afternoon, and thank you for that lecture. So I want to ask a question, and it's pertaining to
are still vested in me, then I have the final say. If I have transferred the rights, the person that owns the right. But the only way you can find out most of the time is when you reach the original owner of the work. And it's getting very interesting. With the same way music and beats, you post something on Instagram now, on YouTube, and it tells you, bam, do you have the certificate or the license to use this song? Even a song that, there was a particular piece I did. I was painting, and I was playing the music in the background, and I did a video, and Instagram refused to upload it. And it was asking for the license of the song that was playing in the background of the video. That song was not what I was promoting. But is that bad now that the algorithms are picking it? And then the time will come, and that's what NFTs will eventually become. That's where the value will eventually come. Whereby, by the time a work of art will show, I see it coming, it has not started manifesting that much. A work of art will show on your screen, and then it will flag it and say, do you have the permission to use this? Please contact Charles Ajiboye for license. And then people will begin to be able to get royalty, because a lot of you now have, especially our ladies, you go into a place, you see artwork, then you just go there. Now person walk.
conference, and then the guy that did the documentaries had put some music on it, and then the first one wanted to load, and he flagged it. And I was like, no, I'm going to get because they are even very easy for them to find. So what did I have to do now? I have to go to the studio. Do you understand? I have to go to the studio to get a producer to do our own sound. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because I didn't want to go about looking for license. Okay, do this kind of beat for us, do this kind of beat for us, so that we can now use those sounds. So it's getting to that level. And for now, you still need, and then obviously get away with it. People just hang things anyhow. People see artwork, they download on online, they print it, they frame it, they hang it. Those things will become big problems very soon. And then God bless the lawyer that is ready to cash out at that time. Who is calling people? Should I call them there? Okay, somebody online. Oh, sorry, this one has the mic. Let him go first, they will come back to you online. Please.
Okay, so for lawyers who are trying to be as compliant as possible with the law, I would permit me to speak freely. There are some laws that don't make sense. When we had, for instance, new RPC that was updated, one of the first things that I checked for in it was whether or not they still said it is whether or not they still said it is against. I mean, it's
Advertising
law. Basically, it is illegal for a lawyer to speak to somebody else about taking his services. According to the law, they call it soliciting. According to the law, if you won't talk to your friend, one-on-one conversation, that I can do legal services for you, you have breached it. It's not realistic today at all. But so now, you see some of the advice that you gave, which on our own we can know that is a realistic.
You can use your mic.
Okay, yes, sorry. On our own, we can figure out that is a realistic thing to do. Like, we can write letters to some people, say, no, we can come in here. But, the law says that we're not allowed to do that. So, how can somebody who is trying to be compliant with the law, we are telling your clients that you try to be compliant with the law, but then you're doing what the law says you shouldn't do?
Sometimes we exaggerate the provision of the law itself. So the RPC was not, okay, let me now speak as a national officer again. The RPC was not amended. Basically what we just did was we added that section that has to do with money laundering. We didn't tamper with any of the, and then we would have done that. But speaking from my understanding of what was happening inside, we had timelines. We wanted to ensure that, because the process of getting the order signed and gazetted is so cumbersome, that we didn't want a situation whereby we've reached half a stage with a government, then all the parties are changed, and then you have to now come back and be sure whether the new AGF or the new permanent secretary or the new solicitor will like this idea and all of those things. So
If I can add to that question from an artist's point of view, I think a contract is better. For instance, if I commission someone to make me a painting, and the person brings it the first time, and I say I don't like it, go and redo it. The person brings it the second time, and I say it doesn't look like me, he knows it's too big, go and redo it. Then the artist becomes frustrated and start asking himself, so how many times do I need to redo this commission for him to be satisfied?
The same price.
At the same
price.
So these are some of the issues that for a commission job should be included in the contract. How many times are you going to redo the work if they ask for it? That's why I would say a contract is important. Another question from our online community is, this is from Olubumi Akpantaku, and the person says, thank you for that presentation, sir. My question is this. The world is likely to go digital in all things in the near future. How do I protect my clients' art interests and rights, most especially in the digital space, like on OpenSea and MetaMask and the likes?
I think we've talked about that. Yeah, I think we discussed that elaborately. And it's still and that's where like this one was fighting NFTs. Like I said, that's where NFTs will eventually get to for art. Do you understand? That's the part for me that I think will have a lot of value, because you can, and I remember there was a particular picture that somebody took of Mohbad, and then, for example, even the photograph that they were using, there was a particular one that was very common of Mohbad. Somebody took that particular photograph. Somebody owns the rights over that photograph. People put it on T-shirts. They did programs, they did flyers, they did all of those stuff. And then you can say fair use, you can say, but some people are also making donations, raising money for it. And then some people will also cash out. DJ will collect money. That is not fair use. It will make money of it. There will be a thin line between when it has crossed fair use and then when it has infringed on rights. But generally speaking, how to protect online will still be the only way for now that I know of is when you mint and you keep on the blockchain. That's the only way online. Otherwise, you have to be looking for where your work is, and that's my work. I think I'm going to do that work. Mr. Kenneth.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for this wonderful presentation. My question is two-pronged. What are the legislations around art law? And are there agreements, specific agreements to parties in an art, whether exhibition and the likes?
So, generally speaking, the same laws that guides IP for now. The only one that seems, and I mentioned it earlier, Gallery Art Bill. They've been pushing it for a while. I know about 2 years ago it came up, but I know the Society for Nigerian Artists had an issue with who should be the DG, should he be an artist? It's a developing space, and so you don't have like it's unusually codified the way it is. But the more it is troubled, the more the law will grow, and that's the kind of place that we can be thinking of positioning ourselves. There was a second leg to your question.
Agreement.
Yes, agreement. On like the agreements, we have names. When you say copyright transfer, the one used for galleries, when you want to give your work to galleries, there's this, but they're not like cast in stone names like you have in music or in deed of assignment, power of attorney. They're not like cast in stone. They are names. The agreements are named to the purpose for which they intend to serve. Do you understand? So if you are doing a copyright transfer, then you do a copyright transfer agreement. Do you understand? If you are doing a sale, typically you don't even need an agreement for that. You just need the authentication and the certificates that just shows that you sold this to this other person. If it's commission work, you need a proper contract because it has terms, it has breakdown of how, when, and what will be done. If it's with a gallery, you need something clear cut. If you're having somebody that's an agent, some people go about doing exhibitions, And then that's another space you can also think about. Supporting a company that just worries about exhibition. They don't own galleries, but they have relationship with galleries, and they can say, I like your work, I like your work, I like your work, I like your work. I bring 5 of you together, let's go to Alliance Francais, and then I promote you guys. 5 of you will have an exhibition and all of those things. You need a dedicated contract for those kind of things. His hand has been up for a while. He said?
Authentication and certificates for sale. Can you just expand that?
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you very much. As someone who is still learning, what's the synergy between art law, trademark, areas of diversion, issues? How do your art law become my trademark? And I just feel probably you can shed light on that area.
Okay, so again, intellectual property comes to play again here. For it to become trademark, it's going to be a function of the use of the work. Do you understand? Because, and then for example, you know, some artists also now have their own styles. And then I know, I'm trying to remember this artist name. There is a particular brand, there's a particular company that adopted the style of a particular artist for their brand. It's a lady, and then let's say it's a device, one of this new, like this Oraimo kind of people, and then it's because there is a way the girl paints that speaks to their brand, and so you find out that most of the time, I don't know the kind of arrangements they have with that particular artist, but most of their offices, it's that work you will see. And then when they are having adverts, jingles, and all of those things, you always see them dropping that particular work in those stuff. Eventually, when an artist decides to get to register his stuff, then it gets to the commission, and then the normal processes of registry of trademarks, registry of copyrights will all flow up again. So it's still exactly the same thing. Nothing particularly for art that is different from how you register shirts or pictures or other things that fall under that space. It's still typically the same thing for now. Typically the same thing.
All right, we have a question here.
I didn't forget this.
Yes, my question actually is related to AI. The reason why is we've gotten to a stage whereby AI now creates art, air quotes. Now, would such a work, if it's been said that if you put in information into the AI machine and you tell it paint Charles Ajiboye sipping a wine, it picks up as much information as it can get as to Charles Ajiboye and creates a painting or something that looks like a painting, a digital version, as a work. Now, can that still be considered art? Knowing fully well it was created using AI and knowing the undertone of AI.
What's the undertone?
The undertone is AI is made by picking information from various places. It's a machine learning process where you must have picked one information, one place to create it. In fact, I've seen some pictures made by AI and I recognize it, while some you cannot recognize the difference. So would such a work be considered protectable as a copyright work? By
the person that put in that generated it. Well, that one will test it too. I mean, I don't know. That one will be tested at some point in time because AI itself is still very new. And if you have your regular social media platforms updated, you realize that these days when you want to put a picture up or a video, it will ask you that is this an original or AI generated. How many of you have noticed it?
Yes, it started asking.
It has started asking. And that's because they are beginning to respond. They are saying what you have said, which is going to come into, it's going to be a problem very soon. Because sometimes now, I'm looking at people's profile and I'm like, this person don't find like this. So, and it looks like the person, and some people don't even use their real pictures again now. It's AI. When you are even editing pictures with CapCut now, it even has AI where you can infuse things now. So it's really getting very complex, and I will not claim that I have that answer now, because before I finish giving you this answer, AG will come out again. So, but I know that our world is getting more complex and interesting. So what I will only just tell you is that when that time comes, somebody is going to claim that he owns the work he generated. But that conversation has already gone on and has been tested in some places where it has been said that the information that AI generates is not necessarily unique to that machine, because it sourced it from many owners. So how all the owners will be the owner of that one work that was generated is the complex process. So, but I hope I answered that. So, you have another question? I have one pen here.
No, are you true with that?
Yes, I'm done.
Okay, someone asked the question at the back as relating to graffiti.
Okay, what's the question exactly?
Is there any law, like intellectual property laws, that apply to graffiti?
It's the same thing. In fact, there are some people that is their kind of art itself. Do you understand? It's some people's kind of art. So some people's kind of art is abstract. There is this man that I remember one of my art coaches used to say the guy could just slam paint on top canvas. Literally, you just see him with a lot of paint and then you just see plenty of colors, and you can't even really explain what he has drawn. And his works are very expensive, but then he will put a story around it, and then now you work.
Actually, what makes art sell is not only the name of the artist, but also the story behind the piece. So one question.
Okay, what's the name?
My name? Okenna. Your painting on the NSAS work, on the NSAS thing, isn't it an infringement on the photographer's work, seeing that you derived yours from his?
I was there.
No, from the popular picture.
No, I was there. That picture was popular because a lot of people took that kind of picture. I have my picture, original picture. I took the picture. This one was my own picture. Now, there is something about what's the thing? They call it it's like plagiarism in art. And then I remember that, and I can if I preempted this question, I would have come with 4 types of the same kind of picture. And then I would have put them side by side, and I would have asked you to spot the difference. And then I would have asked you to identify which one I painted. Now, they are all similar because there were probably like 10,000 people there. And then if you stand at that direction, if I stand here and I take this picture, and you come here and you take this picture, and he comes here and he takes this picture, all 3 pictures will look the same. And then you could paint this one, I could paint this one, you could paint this one, and then eventually when that work comes out, somebody can come and say, this person copied me. And then that kind of matter has been tested outside of this country. We still need to test some of these things here. And then when it gets tested, they will now start bringing all those things into play. Your source. How exactly is it similar? Your own style, then the expression. Because it not only happens in this kind of case. Sometimes it happens like that Doba picture that was stolen. That one, in fact, you call it Doba. In fact, it's this man that put Doba in my head. I did not paint Doba. That's not what I'm saying. It was when I first saw it and described it as such. Because if you Google this one, if you Google that festival that they do, you probably see a lot of horses with a lot of colors, and you think that that is what was painted. But this is not Doba, this is lead. That's my own story. This is not even polo. Do you get what I'm saying? This is not polo. So you see what you want to see, but it's an abstract, and it came out from a story whereby somebody has to lead and somebody has to take take leadership and responsibility. And if you look closely, if you have the original picture, you will see smaller horses there who are deriving inspiration and drawing strength from the fact that somebody is taking the lead. Do you exactly? No man knows what it is. Do you understand? So it could look similar. In fact, he has a similar work that I've taken over, and then if you put them beside, as at the time I did this one and I did that work, we had not even met. But his own too has horses like this, multiple color. He did it abstract. It was acrylic. The only difference was that I think your own is 2 by 3 or 2 by 2.5 or something. His own is small. It's not. He didn't do this kind of size.
All right. One question from here, sir.
Okay, what's the name?
Ikenna is my name.
Okenna. Okay, your own is E. His own is O. But it's the same Kenna.
I am O.
Your own is Ikenna. His own is Okenna. Okay. Does it mean the same thing?
No.
Nice, father. Ike is power.
Yes.
Okay is what?
Share.
Share.
Yes.
So you are sharing father. Your own powerful father. Okay.
Okay. I've had some. I've been in
struggling to see your face.
Where people have talked about tattoos, and they've said something about tattoo being more or less like a form of art. But the issue now is discussion that surrounds the ownership of the work, even though it's on someone else's body. Now, can an artist say, in as much as I painted this on this guy's body, but you can't replicate something like that without my consent?
Because that's a script.
Exactly. If it's an abstract work like this. I don't know. I just want to.
You know, it's interesting. That is interesting, and I must be honest. I've not thought in that direction. But if you ask me on my feet what I think that artist can say, "Don't reproduce this work." The person that owns this, the one I painted it for the one I put in this person's hand, is the one the person paid for. But you cannot snap it and reproduce it. And in any case, you know, some of those things that they paint, that they inscribe as tattoos, some of them are not just ordinary pictures too, if you know. There are some that actually have meanings, there are some that represent things, and so I will easily say that it's possible you can actually, I can without copyright on the picture I draw on your body, because it did not say, if you look at the way IP is written in Nigeria now, the way the law is drafted, it did not necessarily say it must be a work of art, or it did not eliminate skin, or say it can be on cloth, on wall, on brick, on skin, on, I don't know, my thinking, and I would be happy to test it in court. Or parchment. It can be anything. So if it's my work of art, I designed it and I put it on your body, and you paid me to put it on your body, I don't expect you to put it on your girlfriend's body. So you have the one on your body. Copyright. Did I sign it out? Did I transfer it? Commission is not automatic. Don't forget that copyright annuls automatically. So if we don't discuss it, it can't transfer.
I think that's the point here. It has to be discussed. And there should be an agreement that shows that the copyright has transferred from...
Or can transfer.
Or can transfer from the person that drew...
on somebody's body.
That drew the tattoo to the person that owns the tattoo on their skin. Any more questions? Wow, guys, please, a round of applause for Charles.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think there's just one last thing that is hanging. Do you want us?
Yeah.
Authentication and certificate needed for sale, like just explain.
So that one even has, like, maybe I would have put some samples up there, but that one has a whole lot of samples online. Typically, it all depends on how you're selling it and to whom. But the idea, no, it's a certificate. The certificate is a certificate. It's a certificate that shows the name of the artist, the medium, the size of the work, the signature, and all of those things. And it just shows that it's authentic. Yes, it's a choice. It's a choice.
Can I generate a certificate for this now that it has been stolen?
Okay, I get your mindset. Like a certificate,
and I now design a certificate for it. Like
that certificate will be fake now.
Exactly. So how do you know which certificate is fake?
So if I can come in here, when you are buying art for someone, right, and the person asks you to do due diligence, there are a lot of things you have to take into consideration. So for instance, first of all, what is the name of the artist that did the work? When you now find that out, if you cannot access the artist physically to say, did you do this work, right? You can even look for the catalogs of the artist. So there's something I do. I spend a lot of my weekends going for art exhibitions, right? Almost every weekend. That's how I love to spend my weekends. And I always buy the catalogs of the artists. And I keep, in fact, I have a whole wall full of them. Because I believe that in the near future, someone might ask me, please, can you authenticate this work? Can you tell me that this work was actually drawn by Charles? I will now I'll ask what year, I'll go to all the catalogs I have that Charles has made and look for the work in the catalog. If I find it there, I'm a step closer to authenticating that yes, it was Charles that did it. If I can't, there's some you have to do manually. If I cannot do that, I can contact Charles directly and say, please, are you the one that actually did this work? You say yes. Okay, when you did it, who did you sell it to? Oh, I sold it to this person. Because one thing you also have to do is be able to trace the provenance of the work. It is just like when you're doing a contract for sale of land, right? You know, there's a place in the preamble where you write, this land was owned by so
Reciter.
In the reciter, sorry, there was sold to so, and it has now come to the possession of your client. So there's similar descriptions like that in the
due diligence.
Yes, so that's part of the due diligence. Does that answer your question, bro?
I think it should. Yeah.
All right, guys. Another round of applause.
And that's another business. Somebody should actually have like an online directory.
So, guys,
thank you very much.
It's been amazing.
Well done.
It's been amazing, really. It's been a great day. There's something I want you to not forget. And it's something Akinyemi said quite earlier in the day. He said, be a part of the community. Right? So, Akinyemi is into music law. A lot of my friends are into film and media law. My passion is for art law. Right? And when I decided to start working on that passion, what did I do? One, I started going to a lot of art exhibitions. I started meeting the artists. I started meeting people who owned the galleries and just building a relationship, having a discussion. Not necessarily the first day you see them, you say, I want to be your lawyer. They won't answer you. They'll be like, you just come today. No, bro, let's hang out. I love your painting. I follow your work. You know, if she's a lady, I love your painting. I follow your work. Can we do lunch? Can we do dinner? When next you're having an exhibition, can you invite me? You know, so I keep my eye out for all these people. And it has now become a norm where I go to all these places and I start to meet the same people and they remember me. Oh, we met at Art X. Oh, we met at this, we met at that. And like that, I start building my links within the community. So whichever space you want to create your niche in, blend with the community. Hang out with people in that space. If you want to go into music law, hang out with artists, people that sing. If you want to go to film and media, hang out with actors and actresses. If you want to go into art law, hang out with people who are artists, people who own galleries, people who are in that space. I think the best space for me is the art space because everybody there is just cool vibes. They're like cool people. There's no way you go to an art exhibition and you meet cool people. Everybody is just cool. You know, so guys, thank you so very much again. We are coming back here tomorrow. Sir, what's the request? Sir? In fact, yes, if you see the way I'm sweating, I have complained. And they have told me that tonight, someone is going to come and service all the ACs in this room. I really apologize. Even me, I hate sweats. In fact, I always tell people that this Lagos was not made for me. I should be in London or something, you know. Yeah, that's the kind of weather that suits me. I've been a number of times, but I feel like I need to be there permanently, you know. Not that I want to jackpot, but that place just suits me. You know, so guys, thank you so very much. Our online community, please join us tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Tomorrow we have 3 modules to go. Who can tell me the modules? Sports law, talent management, intellectual property. All of them are very interesting modules. I particularly like the talent management because you hear a lot of things, you hear a lot of gist.
They were telling you about how they had to cajole one artist to sing. Maybe they had paid him the money and the artist didn't want to perform, and they had brought the artist to the venue, and the artist just says, I'm not performing. You, the lawyer that you've already spent your percentage. You have to beg the artist, so you are not performing. Do you know who will refund? You say, hey, go and give them back their money. You cannot give them. My own 10% go. Immediately I collected it. It has gone. So you have to learn how to cajole the artist. In fact, there was one time, who knows Foza? Yeah, Foza spoke on that subject one time in one of our trainings, and she said there was one particular artist that was like, they have to give him 2 babes before he performs. That he just wants to be not Olosho. He just wants to be seeing 2 fine girls around him first before he even starts to sing. And they thought it was play. The guy didn't sing. He was in the car at the back of the venue. All he had to do was just come down, climb the stage and pick the mic. He didn't come down. They now had to go and look for babes, 2 hot girls. And I brought them. And I said, yes. Oh yeah, let's go and sing. So there are different things that you will learn under that tomorrow. It's and there's a lot of should I say not psychology, but a lot of counseling, like ICMC said. They will bring issues to you. My baby dad is giving me issues. My baby mama is giving me issues. How do I handle it? And you even learn how to manage an artist. There are some artists, they know they see fine girl. Once you don't see fine, and being an artist, you are international. People want to be with you, be around you, want to hang out with you. Drake went to the toilet and he took the whatever he used, the rubber. I think we're adults. He took the condom and put it in the dustbin. He went back to the room to hang out with the girl. The girl said she wants to go and use the toilet. She wants to use the toilet. Drake just heard that shouting. He just rushed inside. What happened? What happened? Guess what? Drake had put pepper inside the condom. Because some people take the sperm and they now pour it into themselves when they know that you're an artist. So Drake had put pepper in to kill everything that is in the condom and drop the condom. So when the girl was pouring it in, she just poured all the pepper inside herself. And that's why she screamed. So she wanted to sue Drake, actually. But I don't think that happened. So anyway, lots of gist like that tomorrow. So guys, thank you so much. Online viewers, see you tomorrow. Everybody, see you tomorrow. Thank you.